Do you enjoy working with sketches? Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. Today I'm going to share how to simplify the scrapbook process with sketches and how easy it is to alter them to fit your project. On my desk I have the Bayfair collection from ROSIE'S studio. This is a new line of products that I recently discovered. What caught my eye are the patterns. I prefer collections that can be used any time of year, and this one is extremely versatile. The 12 by 12 patterns are one-sided, and a few of them have subtle gold designs. The Bayfair collection has multiple coordinating items to choose from. For my projects, I selected these gorgeous dimensional dragonflies, the cardstock sticker pack, die-cut cardstock sentiments, and the die-cut ephemera pack. This collection has some florals, ocean and beach theme pieces, pattern strips, and multiple pieces with gold details. As I create today's project, I'll bring in a few additional supplies. As always, I encourage you to use what you have in your collection, but if you would like a detailed list of the items I'm using, I've provided you with links in the description below. Let's get started with the project. Life's been a bit busy, so I'm going to save myself a little brain power and start with a scrapbook sketch. For me, sketches are a great starting point, and they can easily be altered to fit my photos. The one I'm using is from Pagemaps. They have an awesome collection of card and scrapbook sketches. In the description below, I'll add links to all my favorite sketch sites and a link to access my monthly sketch download. When you're working with a sketch, you can use it as is or make alterations to fit your photos, theme, or personal style. For my page, I chose a striped background and placed that larger pattern strip off to the right. In the sketch, the photos sit over that background paper, but I felt like mine needed something behind them. This floral with a subtle plaid is helping them stand out a bit more. I always enjoy bringing in die-cut shapes, so I replicated the notebook edge, and instead of a tab, I used a tag. This will allow me to add texture with twine. To bring some red to my design, I'm going to add this border here below the photos. I just cut this using a die I have in my collection. This is different than the sketch, but I feel like it's needed to help ground those photos. Off camera, I laid the pieces onto my background and I backed it with some dark blue cardstock. This is where I brought in my own personal style. I added stitching with my sewing machine. Some of these stitches were shown in the sketch and others were ones that I added to the page. Right now I'm using my Cricut Joy to cut out a camera from pattern papers. I was inspired by the camera in the sketch, so I downloaded this SVG from the ROSIE'S studio site and resized it in Design Space to fit the project. I added some stitching to the camera pieces with my sewing machine before I started assembling it on the page. Each of these pieces were cut from pattern paper to give it more of an applique look. You could also cut it from solid cardstock colors or cut it from white and add color with inks or sprays. On the rest of the pieces, I used my sewing machine, but I struggle sewing around circle shapes, so I'm just going to draw the stitch lines in with a white gel pen. This is something that you could do to all of the pieces using a pen in your collection. For the camera lens, I wanted a mix of red, white, and blue, but I didn't have a dark red that matched this collection. So I'm going to use this die cut here. This camera was a perfect element to add to the page because it helps tell the story. My daughter and her friend were planning on going to the Bing Cherry store, but it was closed that day. So instead of shopping, they did a photo shoot in front of the shop. The photos turned out so cute, and I'll be scrapping a few more in the coming weeks using this Bayfair collection. All right, now that I have this in place, I'm going to bring in 2 of the die cut collections from the Bayfair kit and start adding some embellishments to my page. Here's where I'm going to deviate from that sketch and add my own personal touch. Instead of placing the journaling near the base of the page, I'm going to add this tag here at the top. It says time, place, and details. Below that tag, I'm adding a pattern strip. I love how the Bayfair collection has so many banners, flags, and washi type pieces. I'm going to place a cluster of florals near the photos. This will create a nice frame and direct your eye to this part of the page. With the flowers, I'm going to layer some simple leaves and a blue butterfly. When you're working with a sketch, you still need to find a way to create balance on a page when you add your embellishments. Forming a triangle with like images and shapes is one of the simplest ways to bring balance to a design. Around my camera, I'm going to add more of the flower pieces. I'm just tucking these on the left and right side of the camera. I had to cut apart a few of the flowers because I have foam tape behind the camera die cuts. I just used the other half of the flowers on the opposite side of the camera. As I finish putting the flowers in place, I would love it if you took a moment to let me know that you're enjoying today's project by tapping the thumbs up icon or leaving a comment below. I'll be creating more projects with Rosie's Studio in the coming months, and if this is a collection you enjoy, tap that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on those upcoming projects. To finish off the visual triangle, I'm going to add a small cluster of flowers up here near the journaling. Having more florals near the photos will help direct the eye to this part of the page. In the sketch, there's a large title at the top. I feel like that might be too much for this page, so I'm just going to add a little quote on the camera instead. This says, "Live it your way and love every day," which I feel fits this amazing woman who's in the photos. The phrase has some lovely gold around it, and I like how that brings a bit of shimmer to the design. The final pieces are going to bring more red to the page. The photos have quite a bit of that color from the Bing Cherry store, so I'm going to add some of these free strips to help bring more focus to the photo. One says perfection, the other says today is amazing. Not only did I add twine to the tag, I also brought in more red to the design. I felt like the photos needed to be framed better, so I brought in a red plaid die cut and I moved over that blue banner towards the flowers. This also created some connectivity between these two elements. I brought in some twine near the camera and I finished off the lens with this dark blue circle die cut. This allowed me to bring more of that dark blue to this part of the page. My goal today was to show you how to simplify your scrapbook process with sketches. Scrapbook sketches give you a starting point and the freedom to add your own personal touch. The Bayfair collection and digital camera design from Rosie's Studio were perfect for my page, and the page map sketch allowed me to use those pieces to record a fun memory. If you're one who enjoys pinning projects to inspiration boards, I've added still shots of this layout to my website and social media posts for you to use. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you enjoy using sketches, I have a playlist full of ideas for you. I hope it inspires you to try something new. If you have any questions about this project or supplies I used, feel free to leave those in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.